welcome to the Reality Room Podcast, guys. Today we're going to be talking about Big Brother Canada 4, episodes 4 and 5. We are going to talk about the veto competition and the eviction, a couple of, spoilers and live feed stuff. And we also have some news about what's going on outside of Big Brother.
That's right, guys. This is the Reality Room Podcast, episode 4 with Paul and Chris, here to bring you the latest on Big Brother Canada 4. So let's jump right into it, Chris. Let's start with episode 4.
Right, so episode 4 starts off with a recap of Lavina and Shari are both nominated for eviction by Jared. Shari's pissed off because she was associated with Lavina, so unfortunately she had to be put into the situation.
Yep.
Jared compares Lavina to being the head of the monster, and Shari's is pretty much the arm of the monster.
Right. But basically, Jared explains to Shari the reason why she's on the block. Basically, she sees her as a very close ally of Lavina. Obviously, we all know why he put Lavina on the block, because she targeted his very close friend, Kelsey, last week, and try to get her out of the house. So he wants revenge for her trying to get her out. And Shari, they see her both as very close, so it makes sense. But Shari goes kind of ballistic about it. Well, what do you think about her reaction?
Shari needed to calm down, chillax for a little while, but I feel like she kind of she went a little crazy.
Yeah, I know.
Enough. Come on.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, it was always going to be either Shari or Maddie or Ramsey or Dallas. It was always going to be one of them. So for her to be so defensive about it, so offended, it was very surprising to me personally. Let me know what you guys think about that. So
moving on, we cut to Kelsey, Royal, and Jared. I think it's Jared that's talking about how they're a threesome.
Yeah. They're
also saying that Felipe and Nick are on their side, along with Cassandra. After that, Mitch confronts Lavina. Lavina says she'll use the veto on Shari, and then she starts crying like crazy.
Yeah.
Shari blames Jared for putting her up on the block for a bad reason. Lavina says she doesn't want to be there. Shari starts being optimistic, and then we end up cutting to Jared's pissed off at Dallas because Dallas is lying and saying that he wasn't the fourth vote, but then he just says Dallas, after a couple of seconds, I'm the fourth vote guy, sorry.
Yeah, exactly. And this is what's confusing to me about Dallas. He should have never had said anything. So for him to actually go out there and say he was the fourth vote, he should have just kept denying it.
And they kept on questioning, come on, Dallas, you were the fourth vote, right?
Yeah, right. And this is one of the reasons why Dallas has fallen so low on the Jokers lately. It's because he's playing both sides of the house. You don't really know where he stands, and he formally admits it, that he's playing both sides. He formally admits it to both sides, that he's pretty much playing both sides, which is a really weird way to play, and that's kind of why tensions are kind of high with him and everyone in the house right now. And also with the viewer, who are kind of oh, where do you stand, Dallas? We hate you.
And especially you, because you're such a big Dallas fan. So you're,
right.
You know what I mean?
I'm very disappointed in Dallas, and I have to say he is definitely not on my top list anymore. He's definitely on the bottom, especially after those game moves. But, maybe things will change later on. It is Big Brother. Yeah. Expect the unexpected.
So we keep going on. Jared's pissed at Dallas for lying. After that, Nicki and Tim find out that they can't compete for the veto competitions. Mm-hmm. We find out the players. Jared picks with Chip out. He picks up Nick and Felipe. Lavina picks Mitch. And Lavina says in her diary room that Mitch is the floater. What do you think about that?
I think it's way too early in the game to quantify anyone as a floater right now. It's only week 2. People are obviously laying low because they don't want to be targets. So it's a little confusing to me that she would just call him a floater so early on. Do you think that's weird?
I think it's weird, but from her perspective, I think she just said it because she being compared to everyone else, like Jared and Kelsey, are big open mouth. Yeah. And are really are outspoken, and they're targets in the house. Nick and Felipe are a target. Tim and Nicki are targets. I think that's what she was clarifying as a floater because he hasn't really done too much.
That's fair, but I think the real issue is that most people in the house as of right now have not had an opportunity to play the game. So basically they haven't found themselves as targets, and they haven't found themselves in power or to really be aligned with the people in power, I feel.
Yeah, I completely agree.
So I feel like maybe he might seem like a floater right now, or coaster, whatever you guys want to call it. But as of right now, I think it's a little hard to say. Mm-hmm. But maybe right now that is what he is.
Yeah. So after that, Lavina claims that Jill claims Joel is being wise right now. Eventually, they get bored before the veto competition starts. They end up playing a game of hide and seek. Nicki and Tim are like trying to goof around with the house guests. We see Nick and Philippe. We see Nick. Wow, I'm sorry, I get confused with the brother. Philippe. We see Felipe in the shower, pretending like he's like. I guess he's trying to like convince the people that are playing that he's like Christine with the towel thing on his head. Pretty funny. They have to have fun in the house. It probably gets bored really, really quickly. So
yeah, I mean,
do whatever they can.
Yeah, I mean, you always have to try to find a little fun, and it's also fun for the viewer to watch these kind of things, and just in general.
Also, we have Dallas farting in a jar.
Oh my god. That was a bit much for me to watch.
Why was that and why put that in the episode?
I guess they thought it was. I guess they thought it was funny.
Like Cassandra, maybe the dynamics between like Dallas and Cassandra.
I have no idea, honestly. I mean, it was kind of like a little funny thing to show just how Tim is like very good with the house because he's the one that told Dallas to do it, I believe.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So it was really Tim's idea for Tim to fart in a jar, and then somehow have Cassandra open it up and just sniff it as a little bizarre scene. But whatever.
Expect the unexpected. Moving to the veto competition.
Farts and jars, guys.
Hashtag farts and jars.
Hashtag farts and jars.
Flip It to Win It was the name of the competition. Yes. It involved 6 people, and it also was designed in 2 parts. The first part, it was 3 people were knocked out based on if they were able to get one of the keys to open up. I'm sorry. There was 3 doors, 3 keys that open the door. They move on to the next round. And there's 6 people competing in it. So what ends up happening is Christine gets it, Levita gets it, and Mitch gets it as well.
Yes.
Christine really wants to win the $5,000 for Brick. Apparently there's like 100 keys, but only 3 of them were found. Christine gets it first, Levita gets it second, Mitch gets it third. Mm-hmm. And the second part happens, and the second part they have to get 5 points based on questions within that room.
Yeah. And
so what ends up happening moving forward, Mitch claims in the diary room that he doesn't want to get any blood in his hands.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't. He's kind of throwing this veto competition. Doesn't want to have the power because if he has the power, then he knows they're gonna come to him and be like, "Oh, don't use it," or "Use it." He doesn't want to be put in that predicament. So maybe he's throwing the competition.
But what's really interesting about this is that in his diary room, he says that he doesn't want to get any blood in his hands, but he also says he doesn't want to be perceived as weak as well.
Right.
So, but moving forward, spoiling everything, Levita gets 4 points, Christine wins the power veto, gets 5 points, and Mitch gets 0.
Exactly. So basically, Levita gets really, really close to winning this veto competition. Mm-hmm. And in fact, this is shown in the live feeds a little later on. I don't know if Chris saw this, but because we watch different times. But Levita was in the have-not room, right, with Tim and Sherry and all those people, and she was like, "Listen, if I wasn't a have-not this week, if I could barely think," she was saying. Like, she had very difficulty, obviously being a have-not on slop, you don't get the you don't get the proper nutrients in your body. So she felt that if she was not a have-not that week, she would have won that competition. And she was telling that to Tim, and Tim was like, "Oh, well, that's not fair." And they have this interesting concocted idea of hiding a tongue around the house. Chris, have you heard about that?
A tongue?
Yes, the tongue.
What kind of tongue?
Do you remember the have-not competition, and they got the tongue?
Oh, yeah.
So Tim's brilliant idea is to hide the tongue around the house.
Oh, my God.
And have it just smell up the whole house, and Cassandra's on board, and it was just a little funny thing that happened. And, Tim's a really, really funny guy.
Yeah.
So they hid a tongue around the house, and that was an interesting live feed thing that happened. To get revenge, basically. Mm-hmm. To fight against Big Brother. According to Tim, he wants to fight against the rules.
Oh my God.
He wants to test the rules of the house, which I think is really, really amusing.
Unbelievable. All right, so moving forward, Christine also ends up getting an additional $5,000 from picking one of the pillows up, or cushions, and it ends up being the one in the middle. So she gets lucky, she wins a lot of money. We find out that at the end of this episode that Tim and Nicki get to vote. Rayola is bothered by Tim and Nicki because apparently, I don't know why, but in the episode he just seems really pissed that they're just like being extremely outspoken. What do you think about that?
Right. I mean, I think it's kind of ironic, honestly, because Raul is complaining about. It was mostly Nicki, but I guess it was Tim as well. But he was complaining about Nicki like being very outspoken and just annoying. And what's confusing about this is that Raul is down in the Jokers, and Tim and Nicki are up high. So the way we see it, it's probably the other way around. What do you think about that, Chris?
I told you before, like in the very first episode of the Reality Room podcast, I was just not a fan of Raul. I'm not a fan of him.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Raul either. I just don't like the way he presented himself. And did we talk about the vodka party? The vodka thing?
That's in episode 5.
Oh, that's in episode 5. So I'm already getting the mix.
I know. We want to get into this, but we got to move forward. All right. So Levita tries to convince Christine to use the veto on her. Tries to form an alliance with Christine. Kelsey considers putting up Dallas because he was caught in a lie.
Yeah.
And what happens at the end of the episode is that Christine decides to not use the power of veto, and she pretty much says that they were put in that place for a reason.
Right, exactly. And the thing with Dallas, it seems like at this point everyone in the house was kind of angry with him. I mean, he's still with Levita's group, basically, but he's like the low man on that group because he hasn't proved his loyalty. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty much Levita, Sherry, Ramsey, Maddie, and then, Dallas all the way on the bottom because of his actions. And everyone in the house didn't like him either because he lied. So if that backdoor plan did happen, he would have left in a heartbeat. There's no doubt in my mind. What do you think would have happened?
I think Dallas would have left for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
And we're not gonna spoil it, but it's evident that if the veto was on a certain person, that he would have won.
Yeah, that's very clear. And that's kind of what the viewer wanted. Believe me, we wanted it too. Despite me liking Dallas before the season started, he's just gone down and down.
He can pick himself back up, though. He can pick himself right back up.
I really hope he does. Yeah. Because we all want to watch people we like playing the game. I mean, come on.
So, moving on to episode 5, before the eviction started, we get a couple of recap. Kelsey doesn't feel really comfortable with having a relationship with Jared and tells Cassandra this. Cassandra is getting all the information, digging into herself, and not telling anyone. Smart move on this girl.
Exactly. To tell us a little bit more about what you think about Cassandra's gameplay so far, because I think she's been playing really well. But what have you seen specifically that you think has been really good?
I see her having a lot of social connections with everyone in the house. Mm-hmm. Going back to the other episode when Kelsey was confronting Levita and Sherry about, you didn't trust me, blah, blah, you put me on the block. And Cassandra's just in the conversation with the addition of Joel as well. Yeah. So those Joel and Cassandra, I think they're both playing really good games. They're hiding their...
I completely agree. And I would also add Mitch to that list. Because as of last night, again, this is jumping a little bit ahead, but as of last night, it seems like Mitch and Joel had a really good conversation, and they both seem to really have their heads in the game, along with Cassandra. She wasn't part of that conversation, but I also know that she's kind of part of that. So I feel like those three, and I put this on Twitter, and people agreed with me, that I feel like these three, if they stay long enough, they're going to be running this game very shortly. What do you think about that?
100%. Cassandra has connections with everyone, but she's not... I mean, she was the first person to fall off the first HOH competition, so why would you put her up on the block in the first place?
And usually that puts a target on you, because that's like a reason. It's like, oh, you don't want to be in the house, you can't even stay on for too long. But for her to go get past that so easily, obviously she's seen as a weak player, but very strong social player.
Great social player.
I
just have cleavage on here.
Right. We had this little funny scene in the episode where apparently Levita had her zipper down and she didn't realize that, and Felipe was just joking around. She's like, "Oh, is this a new strategy showing cleavage?" And Levita's all embarrassed, "No, I mean, it could be." She just sounded so awkward.
Yeah, it was really weird.
Levita is not a flirt, at all.
She's one of the guys, according to Felipe.
It's apparently she's just... Whenever I've seen a situation when she could have been flirting, I feel like it's been very awkward for her. Have you noticed that?
Well, Levita?
Yeah.
Yeah, because she's on the block. Things might change now.
Right, but even like week 1, when Dallas had like the 2 girls, and Dallas was like, "Hey, Levita, you want to know this?" and she was just like,
"Yeah."
So I guess she didn't come to play that kind of game.
Nah, she's a strategic player. Personally, I think she's trying to hide her emotions because she knows that's not like the way you play the game. You don't use your emotions.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think we would play the game very similarly. We all know showmances get you in trouble.
And we're finding out from Kelsey that, like, telling Cassandra, like, it's not a good idea being in a showman's.
Right, Cassandra told her not to be in a showman's.
Cassandra's so great.
And she knows.
So, off the game talk, Kelsey gives Felipe a hand massage.
Oh, boy.
And the ironic thing about this is that Maddie and Nick are fooling around, and Felipe gets upset.
I know.
Felipe says that, why you doing this is making you a big target right now. Well, Felipe, if you weren't getting a foot massage or a hand massage or whatever from Kelsey, who is with Jared as like really close friends, hypocrite. Come on.
I also think it's kind of ironic. Plus, we've seen in multiple diary room sections with Felipe. He's like, "Oh, I have a crush on Kelsey. Oh, I have a little crush on Nicki." Like, he's because he said that a few episodes ago, and it's just like, well, I mean, practice what you preach, I guess.
Exactly. Like you give what you get.
Exactly, and he still flirts with them too. I mean, maybe
they probably just edit that somewhere. Imagine like when they edit the clip, it's like before and after that.
Maybe so.
Who knows?
All right, so what's up next, Chris?
All right, so we have some laundry duty going on here. Joel and Cassandra have to do everyone's laundry, but they find out that they have to take 2 clothes from each of the house guests and donate it to charity. But the other house guests have to convince Joel and Cassandra to feel bad giving their 2 clothes away because I don't remember. It was like really weird.
Right. They had to convince them. Okay, so the other house guests had to convince Joel and Cassandra that they were mad about it because they would win like a prize or something.
Yeah, it was like
a
barbecue or something like that.
Yeah, right.
Pool.
It was like
right.
It was the party.
Yeah, it was the party.
It was a party that showed.
But they couldn't tell them.
Right, exactly. So they would win like a party if they acted bad, and if Joel and Cassandra both donated all their clothes. And I believe the way they based it off of, if I remember correctly from the live feeds and watching people reading on Twitter, I believe they based it off people that did the least work in the house. Mm-hmm. So that happened to be Joel and Cassandra. So they ended up convincing them to donate all their clothes, and then it ended up giving them $5,000. This isn't really game talk. It's a really nice thing for them to donate the money to charity, but the more important part is they want a party out of it.
The best thing is they want a party.
So let's talk a little bit about
we're going towards that. So speaking of the party, a lot of stuff happened with the party. A lot of drama happened with Nicki at the party. Odd girl out. What happens is Kelsey goes, they had the party, everyone's having a fun time, chilling near the jacuzzi, hanging out near the pool. We see Kelsey trying to get some vodka, and she's like, the bottle's empty. But before that, we see Nicki taking like half a cup of it or something.
Nicki didn't take a lot of vodka at all.
She didn't take that much.
I watched the feeds. There was like a couple of drips left, and she just poured the rest in because she was like, well, I guess I might as well try some.
I don't know if you remember this, but speaking of like Big Brother 15, this is the same thing with the Winegate thing. Like, Jeremy takes the wine, and the whole house is upset. You're my target, and
it's just so stupid, guys.
Over a drink. Like, God,
I know.
Sharing is caring, guys.
Yeah, I mean, and Raul ended up taking like a big glass,
and it's all Raul's fault. Here, who to blame? Raul, right?
Yeah, obviously Raul's always the blame.
Okay.
And then Nicki was like making fun of Raul to Tim, and then she goes crying into the DR, and. She's a little dramatic, but it's fun to watch.
I love Nicki,
and I love the way she's had a lot of blow-ups in this game so far. What do you think about her blow-ups so far?
I think her blow-ups are really funny. They're less dramatic and more of the comedy side than actually like you can't take her seriously. I don't know why.
Right, and it's hard. Like we said last episode, apparently people like talking about like bad behind her back, like a few days ago, and she calls people out on their bullshit basically.
Good.
And, the people like that. No, I like it anyway.
Moving forward on some personal things before the eviction starts, we see Ramsey and Real. Ramsey finally making himself relevant in the episode. Ends up praying with Real.
Oh, boy.
Sherry's watching. They hug it out. This is a really great personal connection between the Palestinian and a Mexican. We also find out that Joel had Tourette's when he was 13 or 14 years old, and that's apparently something he takes deep inside with himself. And now the debate happens, do we get rid of Levita or do we get rid of Sherry? We are seeing the comparison. I believe it was Maggie that said that Levita is a very strong player. However, Sherry is a good social plus strategic player.
Right.
And 2 is better than 1.
Well, that's fair. I mean, when it came down to the house, it seems like a lot of people had their own thoughts on it. Yeah. And I think when watching the live feeds, at least as far back as 2 days ago, it seemed like most people did want Sherry out of the house at that time. And I think even up until last night, we're filming this Thursday night, by the way, guys. So as of Wednesday and Tuesday night, it seems like Sherry was the one that was going.
Yeah.
Right, and that's just based on the way people were feeling, and etc.
So let's talk about the vote.
Yeah.
12 people voted. It ended up being a 11-1 vote. Shari went home. Yes. Only person that voted against Shari was Nicki. Paul, explain why.
Right. So Tim and Nicki, when they were in the have-not room, and they were talking to Levita and Sherry about this, and they decided that they didn't find it fair that they couldn't play in the HOH or the veto, because they both agreed they would have took one of the two off of the block. So they felt that they should cancel each other's vote out, basically by voting on the opposite sides. So basically, if Tim voted for Sherry and Nicki voted for Levita, so that would basically cancel out the vote, because it's 1-1, so black equal.
Yeah, so that makes sense.
So they both did that for that reason. I believe they both promised them both that they would, and I'm happy that.
I think Rio was pissed off about that too.
Rio, fuck Rio. You can you can take that to the bank.
Okay, so Shari gets evicted, and I forgot what she said to Arissa. I think she said that she played a really loyal game, and Arissa was like, well, that's not how you play this game. And she's like, yeah, well,
Jesus Christ.
That's just how it is. I tried my best being loyal to people. And
#savage Arissa.
Yeah, right?
Well, honest Arissa, let's be real.
So the HOH competition starts, and they have to throw a ball within, like a little pit thing or whatever.
Yeah, like a little pit.
Like in season 16, the one that Derek and Nicole won, it's the same exact thing with they have to hit the golf ball and the shooter. I don't know what it's called.
Very similar, very similar.
So what happens is Cassandra gets 13, Rayola gets 4, Ramsey gets 7, Kelsey gets 4, Tim gets 14, Maddie gets 6, Joel gets 15, Nicki gets 10, Nick gets 16, Dallas gets 10, Christine gets 7, Mitch gets 14, and it comes down between Nick and Levita. Levita was just on the block. She won HOH before, 1 point away from winning the veto. She fucking wins the second head of household.
Third head of household.
No, well, this is her second head of household.
Right, her second.
She's second time she's got head of household.
Right, so
wow.
Where else can you get the exact numbers for this, guys, other than the show himself? Chris got down all this information. It was like, oh, let me write this all down.
Perfect way. Like, this show is getting amazing.
Yeah.
We got a brother twist. We got international. Yeah. We had a blind side. We had votes, a 7-4 vote.
And we got Chris's girl winning HOH.
Levita,
second time.
We thought, I was pretty convinced. I love Levita, but I was convinced this whole week that she was going home, but not happening this week. I don't know. It was more a debate at first.
I thought it would be Sherry.
I wanted Sherry to go over Levita because I like Levita.
I don't know why I thought it would be Sherry, because I thought it was maybe in my head I thought it was equal, but for some reason I thought Sherry was gonna go. But Levita, his girl stayed, and his girl nailed it and won HOH in the household. Okay, so this is being filmed on Thursday night.
Right.
So right now we don't have a lot of news for live feeds, but I did a little research while we were setting up, and apparently they basically had Raul, Kelsey, and maybe Jared. I don't remember if it was Jared. It was definitely Kelsey and Raul. They're kind of like kissing Levita's ass right now. They were all up in the HOH room with her. And what do you think about that, Chris?
It's so stupid. Oh my god! Wait, you said it was Kelsey?
Yeah, Kelsey.
Kelsey.
I know.
Out of all people, who was like crying and like, I'm never gonna forgive you. Like, you get what you give. Like, you're going home, Kelsey. You're going home.
Yeah, right. You're going home. And, well, I mean, unless she wins veto or something, who knows?
Well, then Jared.
So, let's go to predictions right now. So, we know who the HOH is right now, and maybe by the time this episode's out, we'll probably have nominations. But we should go through our thought process and see how close we are.
Right, so we're going to do predictions right now, and then we're also going to go to some reality room news.
Right. Okay. Sounds like a plan.
All right. So Paul, take it away.
All right. So basically, my predictions for nominations, it's pretty obvious. It's going to be Jared, and it's going to be Kelsey. I don't think anyone would find that surprising unless they're able to bolster some sort of deal with her. Which Levita's kind of an open-minded person, so it's possible. But
it's just highly unlikely.
I completely
especially agree. Right after, like when Levita tried to strike a deal with Jared, a 5-week deal of safety.
Yeah.
And he refused that. Now it's going to bite him right in the fucking ass.
Completely agree. And when it comes to the veto competition, if one of them takes themselves off, it's pretty obvious that it's going to be Raul probably taking the steed.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I actually do predict that Jared and Kelsey are going to go on the block. It's what you get for not taking a deal and just, it is what it is. So let's get on to the reality room news.
Right, reality room news, guys. And I think this is going to be a very interesting segment, and I'm really excited for it.
All right, so we got some reality room news for you guys. Big Brother 18 open casting calls have been announced. You have until April 26th to get to them.
Oh, boy.
It's going to be a really good year. Hopefully get some good game players going on. If you can't make it to the open casting calls, you can apply online, make a video, get the lighting good, sound good as well.
Right, and I believe that's like a minute or two video you can put online. Is that correct, Chris?
Yes. Your video has to be about yourself, make it dynamic, make it unique, do whatever you can to convince the casting producers that you're good for Big Brother. And also talking about reality. Sir Caleb Reynolds from season 16, we all know is from Apply to Survivor, got on Survivor after getting on Big Brother. But I don't know if you noticed this, but the episode on Wednesday, he ended up getting banished from the island because he got a heat stroke.
Heat stroke? Oh my god.
And because he was dehydrating. It was a competition.
This actually reminds me of a competition in the Big Brother 16 household. If you guys remember the ones where he was like sliding around, he ended up being dehydrated, really hurt. He won the HOH, Good for him.
Oh, yeah. Is that the slippery one?
Yeah. He ended up being really, really, really hurting after that. So, it's not surprising. Maybe he's more fragile than he looks, but tough guy, though. And
last news we got about some reality stuff is Sequester is an online reality game made by Audrey Middleton. She was from I gotta mention this, I'm sorry. She's from season 17 of Big Brother. She got out 4th. She was the first transgender to compete in a reality show like Big Brother.
Tell us a little bit about what the show is, Chris.
So Sequester is about a super fans competing with each other for a really good grand prize. I'm not exactly sure how much it is, but I think it's like revenue based off of ads and how many people.
Right, there's a cash prize.
There's a cash prize.
That's the important part.
And they just had people vote for who would go into Sequester. Spoiler alert, I'm one of those people.
Right, so Chris was one of the people on the voting things. Maybe we should have mentioned this earlier, is to get people to vote for you.
That would have been great, but it's fine.
Whatever.
The voting process ended. It only happened for 3 days.
Yes.
The game lasts for roughly a week, I believe. Yeah, the game lasts for a week. There's an eviction every single day. People have to go on a computer for 2 hours a day, and they have to verse each other. So it's like Big Brother, but a shorter version of it. And based on the information I was gathering, usually she's going to have more than one of these, depending on how well it does. There's also, from what I've been told, there might be after show like on the block or something like that. But like Big Brother, they have on the block. They get the Canadians, they get the people from the United States. But there's also, from what I've been told, there might be something what Johnny Mac called something about a dentist chair.
Okay.
On the dentist chair or something like that, from what I've been told.
It sounds like a really fun development. If you guys, are able to catch the show, when do you know when that would be airing?
It might be It might be a week or 2 weeks from now. It's going to be really fun. A lot of good people that are going to be competing in it, and I'm really excited because I have no idea what it's going to be about. Right, it's a mystery.
Right. We don't know if Chris got in, but we really, really, really hope he did. I voted for him a few times anyway.
Yeah, a couple of my friends said they voted for me, and if not, well, that's fine. It is.
Chris was too bold to vote for himself. He's like, "Oh, I don't think I'm supposed to do that," and I'm like, "I'm sure everyone else did, but whatever."
Yeah, but it's fine. It is what it is. It is what it is.
I voted for him enough. Yeah, I feel so. I guess that's it.
That's it. That covers reality room news, guys.
Okay. So, do you have any questions for?
Yes. What do you think about the House guests voting Shari out over Levita? Who are your next? Who do you think are going to be the next 3 targets? I'm saying 3 because jury's going to come up very soon.
Right, guys, and another question I want to ask. Basically, who do you think is playing the best game right now? So it might not be someone that's playing so hard. Like maybe you guys think it's Levita winning the HOHs, or maybe you guys think it's someone more like, someone playing a low-key game like Cassandra or Mitch, like we talked about before. What do you think about that, Chris?
Yeah, I'm very curious if you think Cassandra and Joel are actually playing really good games, because we think they're...
Mitch.
And Mitch in addition, even though he only got 0 points, but
calm down.
But we want to know who you
Mitch.
think is playing the best game right now. I thought it was Levita, not anymore, but she's doing good.
Yeah, she's doing well, and she's definitely a strong competitor, and she definitely has a good head on her shoulders. And I guess we can end it there.
I guess, yeah. Guys, we really, really like the feedback that you've been giving us. Please like, comment, and subscribe down below. We have a Facebook page, a Twitter page, a Instagram page, and a Tumblr page.
Right, we just made a Tumblr page a few days ago, so we've been posting on there a little bit. Mostly we post on our Twitter, so be sure to check out our updates on our Twitter page. And, other than that, this has been Reality Room Podcast with Chris and Paul. Until next time, guys.